Ramses II Reading. From his birth, Ramses II was trained to become pharaoh. He lived an extravagant lifestyle in the palace, surrounded by nurses and handmaids. His tutors taught him writing, poetry, art, and military fighting. When Ramses II was only 10 years old, he became commander-in-chief of the Egyptian army. At the age of 14, he began to go with his father on different military expeditions, getting experience in military fighting and commanding an army. Ramses II earned his famous nickname Ramses the Great after fighting the Hittites in the Battle of Kadesh. Surrounded by the Hittite forces, Ramses II boarded his chariot and rode into battle using his bow to fight his foes. Even though this battle ended in a stalemate, the bravery and power of the pharaoh was not forgotten. The image shown on the left of Ramses II riding into battle is one of the most well-known images in all of Egypt. It is carved into more temple walls than any other historical event in Egyptian history. The Egyptian relationship with the Hittites turned out to be an unstable one. Egyptians had been fighting with the Egyptians for decades already. I think that's supposed to say Hittites. As time passed, Ramses II learned of the death of the Hittite king Muwatalli and used this chance to show his Egyptian strength to the new king. After invading the Hittite city of Amurru and claiming it for Egypt, Ramses II braced for a full-scale attack from the Hittites. Instead, Ramses II was met with a group of Hittite diplomats. Deciding to use this as an opportunity to end the wars between Egypt and the Hittites, Ramses the Great signed the first ever peace treaty known to the history of mankind. In the Treaty of Kadesh, the two nations agreed to stop fighting each other forever. In addition to this, Ramses II accepted one of the new Hittite king's daughters as his seventh wife. Ramses II is also remembered for all of the temples built after him. He had more temples built for him than any previous pharaoh, showing many rows of columns carved in his image. Religion and politics were closely tied together in Egypt, meaning that a pharaoh wasn't just a political leader of Egypt, but also a spiritual one as well. In order to achieve the highest goal in Egyptian civilization, which was Ma'at, or divine harmony, Egypt needed a leader who was also in harmony with the gods. By building so many temples after himself, Ramses II was proving his devotion to religion and helping achieve Ma'at. Ramses II was one of the most powerful men alive during his time and has gone down in history as one of the greatest pharaohs of all of Egypt. Ramses II ruled Egypt for 66 years, one of the longest ruling pharaohs in Egyptian history. Not only was he able to defend his kingdom and increase its land during his great military conquest, but he was able to keep peace in his kingdom while showing his devotion to the gods by building massive temples.